Right, guys, welcome back to another In the Rough podcast. I think we're on episode 31. And before we get started, don't forget to kind of like and subscribe, comment any ideas or anything up. But everyone is here this week, but you can't see them. They're just here, audio. There you go. Lots coming up, though. Obviously, this week, you've got the LG Open. You've got the build-up to the FedEx Cup playoffs. And obviously, over the last couple of weeks, lots going on with, loads answer at St. Jude. Obviously, Kisner winning the big six-man playoff. And loads of debate around a lot of the kind of formats, to do with FedEx point rankings and so on. So, lots to delve into. Where do you want to start, Siab?
I like Abraham Answer. Let's start with him.
Go on, then.
Go on in.
I was very happy he got his first win. I think he's someone who I've had a couple of times in our predictions, and although we didn't do predictions for that one, I was very happy that he finally got his much deserved win. I do think now that he's found the formula, that he has the potential to go on and kick on a lot more. I'm glad for him.
I would argue he didn't so much win it as other people lost it, though.
But isn't that winning just holding your medal?
Yeah, but yeah. you can't really rely on that all the time. It wasn't actually the strongest field of the year, was it? So,
was that the one where English put the two balls in the water?
Yes, in the final round, yeah. Well, he put more than two in the water. He put 1 million in the water by the looks of things. So,
but you can only beat what's in front of you. So
yeah, it's true.
Fair play to him, especially when the people in front of you just keep putting it in the water. So yeah,
it's basically what you guys have to experience when I'm on the course with you.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, generally, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we're lucky to play.
Also, anyone didn't see the clip of Sihab hitting it almost backwards off the tee with a driver.
It didn't go backwards though, did it? Let's not over exaggerate.
I
said nearly.
Yeah, the tracer wouldn't allow me to put negative yardage on it, otherwise I would have for banter.
So what you're saying is you're falsifying the data.
No, I'm giving the people what they want. Entertainment.
I will say I have watched it, and on review, it does look like I'm trying to hit a cricket shot rather than a golf shot.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Everyone's an internet coach. No one's a coach out on the golf course.
Yeah, we were there. You need a coach.
Well, in my new digs, I've located a coach who will be at a price range that I'm willing to pay for a coach.
And how much? What is that price range?
£15 to £20 an hour for an hour, I think.
Jesus.
Or I think was it 30 minutes or 45 minutes for £15 to £20. I will investigate, and I will let the good people of the internet know.
Yeah. We want to track your progress and your development. So,
do you know what? We'll do this. If I get a coach, I'll film my progress to see if there's any developments.
I'm sure there will be.
Oh, I bloody hope there is. Can only imagine how angry you'd get if you don't get any better and you're spending money.
I think you have a very good idea as to what that looks like.
I do, yeah. And I'm pretty sure someone will probably end up dead or something like that. So.
Someone else at the range. So. Yeah. Right, but obviously the other one over last week was obviously on the weekend. Kisner won the six-man playoff. A win, which was a bit crazy and a bit bizarre. It just seemed like the final round nobody actually wanted to win. But it was just, no one wanted to do it. So they all
the
just
biggest playoff ever, actually, wasn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Is that by number of participants, or is that by number of holes played?
Number of participants. Number of participants. Yeah.
Okay.
But some playoffs before have gone like 7.
There's a whole 18 holes.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods and Rocco, what's his name, or everything was in when Tiger won it on like a broken leg. They played a whole another 18 holes.
It was this season. It was I think it was like the tied for the longest. It was English, and I can't remember who the other guy was, but I was watching it. They played like 8 or 9 holes.
But Tiger Woods and Rocco in the US Open had to play a whole nother round.
But was that old ruling though? The old
I don't
ruling
know,
you
probably-
play a fresh
probably.
round. Yeah, I
Probably,
think that was old
but-
ruling rather than playoffs. But anyway, it was a very interesting playoff, and yeah, people should have won it and then bottled it, didn't they? So
Adam Scott, yeah. Practice your 3 footers, kids.
Oh God, language.
yeah, don't practice what Tom told you to practice. Practice your putting, kids. Okay?
I mean, you have to admit he has one of the nicest swings on tour.
Yes, but you can't putt. It's all well and good, but if you can't putt, you're not going to win stuff from it anymore, is it?
Clearly, but you know,
Yeah.
He probably did all right though from a playoff finishing. So
Yeah, and he probably made a fair whacking on his on the money as well.
Yeah, so no complaints.
I imagine so.
No complaint. But obviously, that's all in the build up to obviously lots going on this week, and especially on the women's side as well. Obviously, you've got the AIG Women's Open up in Scotland. Where is it again?
Carnoustie,
that's the one.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's very nice course. Very nice course. Lots of coverage. All the big. Well, I said a big dogs from YouTube, but there. So Finch, Shields, they're all up there supporting it, endorsing it, and they've got the biggest prize pot ever for a women's tour event, which is 4.7 million.
Is that the dollars or pounds?
That's pounds. It's like $5.8 million or something.
Yeah. Which is very impressive and shows probably the advancements in the women's game, really.
Yeah. I think especially after the Olympics and what Nelly Corder's doing. She's sort of turned into the Tiger Woods of the modern era for them.
Which is what we were talking about at the start of the year, wasn't we? We were saying there's not a leading icon that's going to take the game forward in the women's side, but I think she's starting to become that, you would say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think that's what the women's game needs. You know, it needs that parity, and you know, by those pots being raised, it draws a lot more attention, and encourages a lot more people to take up the sport from a younger age as well. Hopefully, and naturally, it just means that there's more sponsors. So it can only be a good thing, even though they are ridiculous sums of money. It just means that they're able to support more players, aren't they? Really.
I think that's the thing. As soon as you get more sponsorship, that's that at the end of the day, isn't it? That's where the main income comes from. So once they get that, they can support more players. More players can do it full time, because still there was a number of out of the X number of women on the tour, it was only a small percentage are actually full time athletes.
Okay.
Just because it was quite interesting, yeah.
Obviously, it's pretty much 100% for anyone who's got the PGA card.
Especially
on the men's.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even on the Corn Ferry Tour, or you know, there's a high number of them who are going it pro for a couple of years to try and make it, and not doing anything else on the side.
But because I think they're saying at Corn Ferry, there's enough to kind of subsidise yourself. You're not going to make a large sum of money unless you're winning it. But there's enough to just subsidise yourself going to and from the events, because there was a few of them. I know a few of the ones on Instagram and stuff were showing during the Corn Ferry Tour, like the cost for them to get to and from an event. There's the average event will cost them between $1,500 to $2,000 per event.
Yeah,
out of their own pocket. It's crazy.
I remember seeing the you know, Big Mike, who got that break, and everyone went onto his story. I saw, you know, checked out his Instagram. It does seem like a lot of these players obviously play in local tournaments as well, where they're obviously going to be having a much higher chance of winning. So even in these local tournaments, when they're, you know, where there's a prize pot of, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, they've got a chance of, you know, if they're going up against, you know, a few amateurs, a few club pros, then they're going to have a much higher chance of winning and being able to sustain themselves. That's not something that's quite present on the women's side yet. And I think once the LPGA is established, that's probably the next thing that needs to come in, is that rung below them.
Yeah, act as more of a feeder, won't it, to the main tour?
Yeah,
that's what they don't have. It's a jump from nothing to tour. There's no in between. So I think that's the disparity, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that will help keep it at a consistently high level, and what that probably means that there's needs to be a bit more at the grassroots level to make sure there's women's coaches at pretty much most golf clubs, especially the big ones.
More money, more people. It's always been the case.
Simple as
That's
that.
it.
And you'll just get better athletes from other sports doing it and taking up golf because there's more money in it. And then, so people say if you took all the athletes from like the NFL or something and put them on a football pitch, some of them will, or have got them playing football from the beginning, loads of them will be professionals because just genetically and stuff. So you'll start getting people like that soon. So.
What was the other one? I guess LeBron went to basketball because it was a safer route for money. Yeah. He was the number one football recruit in Ohio. So he chose to go. Well, this is.
I wonder why. Because he's 6'6", can run really fast and can jump really high.
Yeah, 6'8", 260 pounds, and has a 40-inch vertical. Great wide receiver.
But also in the States, you've got to do the numbers. You've got how many people are on the tour on average? The P's are 150 an average event, give or take. And you think that's from around. I think that's from around the world. You think how many NBA teams each have got 20, 25 man squad, and then they've got the G League, which is
you have to cut it down to 15 man.
15, but then your G League, which is still paid really well. So 30, and then that's times by 25.
30 teams. So there's 30 players, 30 teams. So there's a lot more players. So
that are 700. So 750, give or take, that'll be paid a ridiculous amount of money versus. So you break it down, you've got 5 times as much chance of getting to an NBA level than you do at golf.
Yeah.
That's the US alone,
I think about it as well with basketball as well. The European leagues pay quite well. I'd probably say the European tour is higher paying, but there's a lot more teams in Europe across. You've got your big teams, in Athens, in Barcelona, Madrid. You've got a lot more. It's about making sure that the players can get paid the same way that they can from doing these other sports.
Yeah, well, if it's all about money, it's like F1 is a good example. Like, there's a reason very few kids go into go-karting because it's so expensive. But then also, there is only 20 drivers in the world that can compete in F1 at a time. There's a reason kids don't go into it. It's just not feasible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yep.
I'm saying I'd be really good if someone ever took me to go-kart lessons when I was a kid. So
I'm saying, it takes a lot of skill to drive the way I do.
Yeah, you also wouldn't fit in an F1 car, though, Siab.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
No, you're not. Yeah, over 5 foot.
It takes a lot of not caring about your body and what could happen to you to drive like you do.
I take very good care of my body. Thank you very much, sir.
How many knee surgeries have you had?
What?
How many knee surgeries have you had?
A couple, but I treat my body. I give it all the sugar and desserts at once. So I treat it well.
Yeah, you insulate your body very well, don't you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm very well protected come the winter.
Right. Anyway, we're being sidetracked. We'll get back. One of the other big talking points this week is obviously build up to the FedEx Cup playoffs. I think was it today they've started or going into tomorrow?
Yes, it is today.
But obviously the big debate is the qualification to that, i.e., what events give you X number of points? Because Sihab made a very interesting point. Was it about points for the actual Masters versus other things are almost identical?
Thomas?
Yes. So obviously with FedEx Cup, you are obviously ranked, and then by the end, they do some stupid thing where if you're the number one, you start at like 10 under at the Tour Championship and go down, and then so you get points at each tournament. And for some reason, winning the Masters gets you 600 points, and then winning a tournament at Palm Springs gets you 500 points. The hardest tournament in golf to get into with every single best player in the world.
Yeah. So essentially beating
points more.
beating 49 of the best players in the world gets you 100 points more than, on average, beating maybe 8 of the other top 100 players in the world. So it's the way they do the points is essentially a big issue. So the fact is, coming into it, if you're 3 or 4 strokes behind, it isn't enough of an advantage for someone who's been amazing across the season consistently. That's a big issue. That's something that really needs to be fixed to try and make it more beneficial. Right?
Well, yeah, exactly. I think it's you could scrape through qualification by like a point, and then you're only 5 strokes behind someone. You can make that up in a good round. It's the advantage is it's minimal really for the work that would be put in, and it's not. And obviously, it's done. It's let's say somebody won in a year. Let's say they won did the Grand Slam basically, won everything. They wouldn't be 15 strokes above everyone else. They'd just be 1 stroke above the person that got the second most points, even though they could have got triple the points of them in the rankings. They only gain a stroke extra.
Yeah.
It doesn't make too much sense the way they've done it.
I don't agree with the point of there was also points raised as to that weighted scoring formula of everyone should start on the same score. I don't agree with that. I think you need to be rewarded for being the best player in the season consistently.
Yeah, because otherwise, once you're guaranteed qualification, why would you bother turning up to the other events?
Exactly. Why?
Money.
Once.
Well, yeah, but
obviously.
No, but money just for even playing in the FedEx would make up for a couple of months' worth elsewhere.
Absolutely. The thing is, this is a $60 million pot. So if you're going into these other events and you're possibly risking injury, any of the other things happening, losing form, whatever the case is
it worth it?
To be, yeah. So, what you're risking out on a pot on each one of those events of a few 100,000. But you come to the FedEx.
Yeah, but I don't think number 1 should be 10 under, and then number 10 should be at 1 under. That's a 9-stroke disparity to start a tournament for how good players are.
What should it be then? What sort of advantage is
number
reasonable?
1 should start on 5. Number 1 and 2 should start on 5. Number 3 and 4 should start on 4. Number 5 and 6 should be 3, 7 and 8 should be 2, and then everyone else should be 1 because it's only a 4-shot disparity, which is you can make up.
But then, do you want them to have that much of a chance to be able to make it up?
Yes, because then it makes more exciting finishes in golf rather than.
So that argument makes it better for the fans rather than better for the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, I guess. Do you also be selective then of which courses you play it on to be better for the fans? Like essentially making sure that it's played on the fan friendly courses. Do you go back to like Phoenix, Arizona, where the holes are where there's a lot of grandstands around? Do you go to a Pebble Beach where there's a lot of fans possible?
Or an event where the fans can actually drink or cheer. You should do an event right. Most of the time they're not allowed to do. So
yeah, I think you because you want this to be like the crescendo almost to the season, don't you? Which it kind of is and it isn't, because I don't think it gets enough attention from a build up viewpoint in the pure sense that by now all the majors are done, so no one really cares. Everyone's waiting for the next
even
season. More
so in a Ryder Cup year, overshadowed entirely.
Yeah. So there needs to be some way for them to make this the pinnacle of the season at the end after it's done.
How?
Done.
I don't know.
Well, your argument would potentially be scrapping the stroke advantage, for argument's sake, because that would make it more competitive. Every player would then be interested, because otherwise, for argument's sake, outside of the top 10 rankings, there's going to be a lack of interest because they're already coming in severely handicapped.
But obviously, no. But you don't also want to open up to another whole 125. There's no point in doing that.
No.
Do you go for like a top 50?
Yeah, limit it further. Yeah. Limit it further so it is the elite of the elite, not just the top 10 and then a load of stragglers. Why don't you just do the top 20, make it? Why not limit it more? That would
or
make it
you
more
do the top 100 make it.
Right.
And you do a cumulative score over the 3 weekends.
Do you mean in terms of the playoffs to get to the FedEx? See, I don't like the playoffs to get to the FedEx because I'm not a big fan of it. I'd want that.
Well, no, because there's 2 playoffs and then you do the Tour Championship. So
why can't it be done in one playoff? So why can't it be done in like all the players that aren't in the top 10 play in one playoff, and then the top the top 15 from that playoff make it?
Because then that's ridiculous. Because if one person just plays one bad shot, then there's no way of making it up. You should be able to have at least multiple rounds. So I think you should have like the top 50 players or whatever you want to limit it to, and then you have to play multiple. They don't like get knocked out. But then you play 3 weekend or 3 weekend weeks on the trot. So then you actually find out who the best golfer is over an actual period.
Yeah, I guess argument to that would be though they've had a whole season to prove that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying that'd be the argument. They've had the season to prove that, and it makes it more. The jeopardy comes because it is knockout almost like that. If you miss 1 or 2 holes, like you're done.
It's golf. Golf. There's gonna be like this is not fair.
Life isn't fair, Tom.
One bad bounce and then you're screwed. Like
whichever way you cut it, it's not going to be fair to someone. You know, it's not. It's not.
Because it's not going to turn out fair for more people if you just did it where someone gets knocked out, because you could have someone's ball could roll in a bloody divot on a fairway, which you can't, which is a stupid rule in golf anyway. You can't remove it and place it, and then you can't get any spin on the ball, and then you can't keep it on the green, and then you miss it. Like that's just stupid for that amount of money and those sorts of things.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at the end of the weekend in that playoff weekend. At the end on the Sunday, the top 15 ranked or top 20 players from that playoff go through to play with the top 10 that have already been in the rankings the entire time. So you end up with like a top 30 shootout essentially.
That's what they do have.
No, but they take 2 weekends to get there.
Why change it to 1? They're going to get more revenue.
Often that's what they're thinking, but
it's
just boring. I don't want to watch it over 2 weekends. It's just 2 weekends is meh.
But they cut it down after the first weekend as well.
Yeah, but still,
it goes from 125 to 75 or something.
Yeah, but it just I lose interest. Well, this personally, I lose interest because I'm just like, well, it could be done in 1 weekend.
But what happens if you're the 31st person the whole way through the year? Do you deserve to be cut off if you have 1 bad round before get the cut-off point?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the season's there for.
Well, no, but that's what you're saying is like you have 125 people, and usually they cut it twice, so then you'd get like the second chance as well. So if you're 31st, then you've been there the whole year, then you cut 75 people.
So you basically get like a last stand perk, is what you're telling them.
Like
your last chance to save yourself.
You're 1 person off it, then you're like getting rid of more than like 60% of the field.
Yeah, but you might
as well not do any playoff then. You might as well just say the 30 people.
But you're saying
that would be really exciting though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
no, because then you're just going to get the 30 people at the beginning. Like
no, but imagine the Premier League, Tom. Imagine the Premier League. Imagine the team's been in 17th all season, or like so just on the edge of it. Then in the last day they lose the last game and drop into the relegation 8th place. Like you can't go, oh, that's unfair.
Well, no, but that's completely different because you're going to be that close to the drop line. Which is what I'm saying. They currently do 125 people, and your changes are basically changing it so that you have 1 weekend that you're 1 spot off, and then suddenly 75 people get after 1 round. Like. That's when there's 2 rounds.
So you better bring your A game.
Yeah, play better. Tom, I completely get your argument with the divots and stuff. I do completely get, but then equally, some players will turn up and just not play well.
But then that's why you should have 2 weekends. Because if you're that close, then if you have 1 bad.
Yeah, but it's the same
No,
reason why
no,
the
but that's
Champions League final is one leg, not two. He's going, oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's the whole reason is because you can turn up and have a bad game. It's just unlucky. Like,
But that's no, you guys no.
But like the NFL playoffs, if the Patriots could turn up and have a bad game.
Yes, but it's not the same as that, is it? Because you're playing 30 tournaments in a season, and you're saying change it from having 125 people to getting it to 30 after one weekend.
Yeah,
they
that's
could
ridiculous.
give it a cool. They could give it a cool name, couldn't they? Like something like Danger Zone or something. Where
but if you're doing it from 125 to
2/3
30,
of the field are going to drop that week.
But there's no point. Then if you're going to
so
just cut it from 30 straight away, there's no point because the amount of points you'd get. There's no point for anyone outside like the top 40 to even turn up.
Which is my point exactly. Make it a more elite event that's more interesting. Forget the rest.
Or what you could do is, if you want to protect these guys, from the 30 to 50, they have like a match play that happens in the next few days or something, or like some sort of playoff. I don't know, like
they do have a playoff. That's what it is.
No. But I want it to be narrowed down even further. So I want it to be.
It does. It goes to top 30 on the last weekend.
We've got 30 seconds left. Seahab, what's your closing argument for 10 seconds? Go.
Make it more exciting. Make it brutal. It's gladiatorial combat, but in golf.
It is.
That's what I want.
It's just an extension of the season. It's just an extension of the season. It's just a couple more tournaments to get to that final 30 So you're just cutting one tournament out of the season.
Right, I'll finish it. No one really cares because the Ryder Cup's 3 weeks after. Yeah!